Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What is stopping you from getting married? I want us to look at this question today and focus on three areas. We are seeing a situation in this present moment, despite having so much in terms of being comfortable in life, in terms of having good jobs, everybody around us, having contacts, access to so many resources and so many people. We have, all of us together have so many contacts that this wasn't possible in the past, but yet what is stopping you from getting married is the question. So there are 6 things that I want to look at affect us in being successful in being married and also getting married. Number 1 is the fact that the dunya is playing tricks on us. And this is very important that we understand that this dunya is full of so many tricks. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. So this dunya plays so many tricks, and this dunya makes things important when they're not important, and particularly the fact that alhamdulillah we're living in the West and life is very comfortable, and we have gotten used to the freedom that we have, and we have gotten used to being very independent, and as a result we don't feel we need anyone else, and when you feel you don't need anyone else, then there isn't any urge to search for anyone to live with. It's only later on in life that we feel the emptiness and the loneliness, and that's when the reality kicks in, and that's when towards the end of the life you regret and you feel, I wish I'd gotten married, I wish I had children. By then it's too late. Just an example I want to share with you about the dunya playing tricks, and particularly having freedom and having the independency in us. One of my neighbors, nearly in his 70s, and every time he sees me, he always says, I admire the fact that you have children, you're married, I had once. So people don't, whatever they have, they don't cherish and they don't preserve those things because the dunya plays tricks. When you have freedom, you don't need anyone else. So it's very important to understand. That's one of the reasons why we are not getting married, because we are too independent. We don't need anyone else. Not at this moment, because you are young, you're strong. But later on in life, know that loneliness will kick in. And towards the end of life, in your 50s, 60s, you won't have many people around you. You will be on your own, at your own house by yourself. So it's very important to realize this trick and work on it now. Hasten and look into proposals. Inshallah, you will see that when you have done and when you have made that sacrifice for yourself and sacrifice that freedom to live with people and build a family, inshallah, that family will come to you. And it's nice when we see when elderlies die, they have their grandchildren, they have their family members, wives, husbands, daughters, children, supporting them. And I know one of my students, before her mum passed away, all the children were around her, trying to help and support the mother as much as possible. And this is so beautiful, when we've sacrificed, when we've built a family, when we've had husbands or wives. So let's not allow the dunya to play tricks on us, number 1. Number 2, the expectation of marriage has changed the way it was in the past to now. Now the more expectation is the economical. We look at somebody's qualification rather than anything else. That's the biggest thing in our head. Are they equal to me? I'm a doctor, so I need a doctor. I'm a barrister, I need a barrister. I need somebody established, which are all very fine. They're all economical, and it does show a degree of someone, possibly commitment, hard work. So many things it shows, but it doesn't indicate that this person, whoever they are, in being successful economically makes them successful in marriage or relationship, in bonding with somebody. And it's usually that expectation that is economical usually has been the case failing, because people don't know how to work with one another, how to talk to one another, how to communicate with one another. So let's not try and focus too much on the economic, but rather look at, can these two people get along with one another? Are they compatible? And usually the opposite always attracts. You know, somebody who's very angry sort of reacts quickly, and you need someone who's opposite, so to have patience. So that's number 2. Expectation is very economical these days, and let's try to focus on the character. Then that is going to be more blessed, as we find from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, as well as in the Quran. And this is what Islam is here to do, to make our life as comfortable as possible, as easy as possible in the dunya, because this dunya is difficult and hard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. So this ayat, Surah Balad, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. Kabad means that human beings will go through difficulties. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But we want Allah to make it easy for us. So let's have expectations based on character, and expectations where we look at the two people and see, are they right for each other? And this is where the community need to get together. Number 3, I move on to say that responsibilities. We are not fulfilling our responsibilities as your guardians. Those who are in the marital age, you need to have guardians. You need to have your mahram, which the Islam says. Mahrams are people who protect you, look out for you. And what we have are mahrams, our guardians, our family members. Everybody is too busy thinking about themselves, and it's very important that we think about you. We think about the boys that we have and the girls that we have, so that we're able to help you to get married. And because of this lack of fulfilling of responsibilities, we are actually in this chaos, and that's one of the reasons why you're not able to get married. Number 4, and I think that's true for majority of the people, is fear. Number 4 is fear. Sometimes when we do an action, we look at what's happened in the past, and we tend to look at our family members. And often, of course, in a marital relationships, we find there's going to be ups and downs. People are not going to share with you their joy, but you'll hear them complaining and complaining and complaining and moaning. Just the other day, I said to one of the ladies, because you're complaining so much to your family members, that is the reason why they're involved, because they love you so much. Try not to complain, because remember, when someone does something, if your husband does something or your wife, she does something, it's just that moment you have the negativity, and the rest of the time is positivity. But if we go and share that negativity, then people only have that negative in their mind about that person. So it's very important that you keep, particularly from your loved ones, sometimes the quarrels and difficulties you may have, because otherwise they're going to judge your husband or your wife. So because of why am I talking about fear here? So sometimes what happens is we tend to say no out of fear, because maybe our family members have had bad experience, and because of their bad experience, we have chosen to make a stance, and we said no, we don't want to be going through the same thing, because we're human beings. We don't want to get hurt. We don't want to repeat the same difficulties someone else went through, maybe a divorce, maybe domestic violence, maybe so many other sort of issues they've had, which has stopped you from wanting to consider looking into proposals. And this is one of the biggest problems that we have, that we're using other people's experience to judge somebody else. It may not happen to you like that. And the way we need to learn from others' experience is that we need to be careful. Why do you think they're in the situation they're in? There's so many factors. So if we're able to look at those factors and learn from them, then inshallah it's not going to happen to you in the same way that it happened to them. And this is human nature, that we go from one extreme to another. For example, in the past, our mums and dads were married young. And because they were married young, they didn't like that, 13, 14, 15. So they didn't want their children to get married young. So the marriage is being now delayed. Can you see that out of fear of their experiences, they're now letting our young people get married later. So we, as human beings, we go from one extreme to another. But if we go back to Islam again, and if we take the advice of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, خَيْرُ الْأُمُورِ أَوْسَطُهَا, that everything in the middle is better for us. Not too young, not too old. In the middle way is the better way for human beings. And I was talking to a couple of young people, and they said, look, 19, 20, 21, 20, 22, these are some of the sort of age categories that's quite nice, because by 19, 20, 21, 20, 23, you're sort of matured to be in a marital relationship, but you're not mature enough to make judgment about people's character, and also you're not settled with your own character and habits. So it's a middle way to be able to get married. So know that the Prophet ﷺ encouraged the middle way, and the Quran and Islam encourages the middle way. Allah addresses us as ummah wasata, ummatun wasata, that you are a middle nation, that whatever we do in our transactions and dealings, we try to go for the middle way. So even in marriage, we try to go for the middle way, the age that's really in between, that helps the young people to grow with their partner, the type of people that they will get. Then that way our fear is not going to take over our actions and help us neglect, what is good for us. So try not to let the fear because of other people's bad experience stop you from getting something that is good, inshallah. Number 4, hastiness and rushing. Often when a proposal comes, we don't give justice to it. We hasten things and we rush. And we know that from an Arabic proverb, at-ta'anni min ar-Rahman, taking your time, is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And hastiness, al-ajalatu min ash-shaytan, hastiness is from shaitan. We must, when we get a proposal, not rush. First of all, when we get a proposal, we need to make sure we discuss with the right people. Number 2, we rely on Allah by doing prayers, by reciting regularly, doing istikhara, talking to Allah. Allah, if this is good for me, make it easy for it to come. And for that, all of that to happen, you can't just rush, look at a CV and say no, or say no quickly, or say yes very, very quickly, and then you have regret. No, everything has to be done in the right way for you to be able to bless with the right things, because this is a commitment for life, inshallah. And this is a nisfud deen, half of your faith. And this is not an easy matter, inshallah. And finally, remember, through this relationship, you want to leave behind a legacy, which is your children, inshallah, who are going to be worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and praying for their 2 parents. And finally, baraka, lack of baraka, in fact. When we allow the dunya to play tricks on us and say, well, I'm not ready yet, I want to have my independency, I want to live a life a bit more, I don't want to think about marriage. When you have economical expectations rather than expectations that's going to help you as a person to grow and become better and develop a society where people are going to be in harmony, and there's going to be tranquility and sakina, you allow your economical expectation to dominate, then we fall into error and difficulties. And we must take responsibility of those difficulties that we put ourselves in. Number 3, no responsibilities from people who are in charge of us, our guardians, our mahrams. When we allow fear to dominate our feelings and our decisions and what is right for us, and when we hasten to things, what happens is we start lacking in barakah. And this is a Islamic concept. We find in Islamic societies this concept existing, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts things from us, He gives us barakah. However, when we restrict ourselves, then the barakah starts going. And this is something, it's not measurable. You can't measure, you can't see and say, by the way, 20% of the barakah has gone from your life, or 10% has gone, or half of the barakah has gone. We can't measure it. And as a result, what we start seeing is somewhere else we start feeling. In inner, we feel uncomfortable, unhappy, we feel stressed, we don't know what to do. And things starts unfolding in a negative way in our lives. So when we feel all of that, and when we start seeing things that we don't like in our lives, then we need to really go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and look at the fact that the barakah has gone. And barakah is key to our life. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives barakah to those whom He loves, and those who are patient, those who are grateful to Him, and those who do hamd, praise Him. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that these 6 points will help you to reflect and allow you to be able to change your ways, so that inshallah you will get married. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.